In the early 1900s, some psychiatric hospitals gauged patients' readiness to integrate back into society through a simple and particular test. The patient was ushered into a room with a sink, where the hospital staff would place a plug in the sink, turn on the faucet, and wait for the sink to overflow. As water bubbled over the ledge and splashed onto the floor below, the patient was then handed a mop and the staff would leave the room, closing the door behind them. If the patient turned off the water, unplugged the sink, and mopped up the water that had spilled onto the floor, they were deemed as ready to go home and enter back into society. But if the patient opted to frantically mop up the water gushed over the sink, failing to turn off the faucet or remove the sink's plug, they were deemed insane and prescribed more time in the psychiatric hospital. They failed to acknowledge and address the root of the problem. Many of you in the tech industry are frantically mopping. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Microcast. Today is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, and today we are going to do a bit of a book review. So, the book that we're going to be talking today about is Ruined by Design by Mike Monteiro. And I'm not sure if I'm saying the last name right, I apologize. The subtitle is How Designers Destroyed the World and What We Can Do to Fix It. So I finished this book last night. It was a really good book. It's basically a design ethics book. And when we talk about design and designers, I feel like we're expanding that term to basically mean anybody who is creating digital things. Programmers, designers, project managers, anybody who has an influence on the design should read this book. The book is split into three main sections. How Designers Destroyed the World, which is basically a review of the current state of the dumpster fire, if you will. What We Can Do to Fix It, which is a collection of individual behaviors and ways in which you, as a solo person, can do good in the world and avoid not doing bad things in the world. And then a final section, which basically is called You Can't Go It Alone, which talks about community, professional organizations, and licensing and regulation. Specifically, when we talk about community there, he talks about both the good versions of community, like neighborhoods, and the bad versions of community, which in many ways is the digital campus life of modern Silicon Valley. So as I said, I really enjoyed the book a lot. I thought it covered a lot of great ideas. And it was funny because as I read through some of the reviews online just to see what other people thought, there was definitely people who reacted negatively to the tone of the book. And I will say, Mike, and I've seen him do talks, before. He has a very sharp personality. He does not sugarcoat things. He, in fact, he is angry and he writes angry. And for me, I find that refreshing because I feel like a lot of people try to manipulate their, online persona a certain way to get a certain reaction to people. And I feel like Mike is just laying it all out there and he's upset. And so he's going to write upset. And frankly, I'm upset too. In many ways, when I got into this industry and I started to build things, the internet was just coming out and we were building it and we had no idea what we were doing. And clearly we had no idea what we were doing. But, there were a lot of us who had good intentions. And the problem is just like good intentions by themselves are worthless. And, we need to do better when it comes to, protecting people from, harassment and digital identity theft and all number of things which are the sad state of the internet right now. But I think the book is really great. I think anybody who's building digital things should check it out. I feel like the goal of a book like this is to basically to fuel the discussion. Regardless if you're unhappy with Mike's tone, I do feel like it succeeds at helping people ask questions and look back at their past work and really, analyze about how it has affected people and hopefully get people to think about the real long-term effects of the software they build and not just the short-term, paycheck that many of us get as we build things. So with that, yeah, it was a really good book, Ruined by Design. check it out. That's it for the microcast for today. Hope you have a happy Wednesday. Hope you do some good in the world, and we'll see you next time.